Welcome to our U.S. Briefing program. Today, we dive into the whirlwind of international politics as Donald Trump pushes for a quick resolution to the Ukraine conflict, leaving European leaders scrambling to protect their interests. His rush for a deal with Putin raises eyebrows and concerns about the future of Ukraine and European security. Will this hasty approach lead to a sustainable peace or just more chaos? In other news, travelers are on edge as a series of air crashes in 2025 has rattled the aviation industry. From a tragic collision near Reagan National Airport to a medical plane disaster in Philadelphia, the incidents have sparked criticism of U.S. aviation regulators and heightened anxiety about air safety. It's a troubling trend that has many questioning their next flight. Lastly, Costa Rica is stepping up to accept migrants deported from the U.S., marking a significant shift in handling unauthorized migration. With the Trump administration's new strategy in play, Costa Rica will receive 200 migrants from Central Asia and India this week. This move highlights the evolving dynamics of migration management in the region. Please stay tuned for more detailed content. CNN reports on the escalating tension surrounding Donald Trump's push to negotiate a swift peace deal with Russia regarding the ongoing war in Ukraine. Trump's desire for a quick political win, possibly to bolster his claim for a Nobel Peace Prize, has led him to engage in talks without the involvement of Ukrainian or European officials. This has raised alarms, as an equitable resolution is crucial for Ukraine's survival and the security of Europe. Trump's approach has been criticized as naive, with fears that he might concede to Russia's demands, potentially rewarding its illegal invasion and leaving Ukraine vulnerable. As President Zelensky fights for the sovereignty of his nation, he warns against any agreements made without Ukraine's participation, highlighting the stark contrast between his nation's struggle and Trump's political aspirations. The New York Times highlights the growing anxiety among travelers following a series of tragic air crashes in the U.S. in 2025. The most devastating incident occurred when an American Airlines plane collided with an Army helicopter near Washington, resulting in the deaths of all 67 people on board, marking the deadliest air crash in 2 decades. Other notable accidents include a medical plane crash in Philadelphia that killed 6 and a small passenger plane that vanished in Alaska, prompting extensive search efforts. These incidents have sparked sharp criticism of American aviation regulators, as questions arise regarding safety protocols and air traffic control staffing, intensifying public concern about the safety of air travel. Al Jazeera provides an update on the Russia-Ukraine war, marking day 1090 of the conflict. The situation remains dire as both sides continue to grapple with the consequences of the war. The ongoing struggle underscores the complex geopolitical landscape, where the stakes are incredibly high not only for Ukraine but for regional and global security as well. The international community watches closely, aware that the outcome of this protracted conflict will have lasting implications for the balance of power in Europe and beyond. As the war drags on, the need for a comprehensive and inclusive resolution becomes ever more pressing, with the lives of countless individuals hanging in the balance. CNN reports that the Israeli military is defying a withdrawal deadline by maintaining troops at 5 strategic posts in southern Lebanon, despite Hezbollah's warnings that this violates a ceasefire agreement. Lieutenant Colonel Nadav Shoshani stated that the Israel Defense Forces, IDF, will keep these outposts to protect residents and address threats. The ceasefire, which ended a year-long conflict, was brokered with U.S. assistance, but the Lebanese government, represented by Speaker Nabi Berri, has rejected any extension of the withdrawal period, insisting that Israel's continued presence is unacceptable. The situation remains tense as both sides accuse each other of violating the ceasefire terms, and the U.S. military's role in mediating the situation has been vague. Al Jazeera covers a disturbing incident in Florida where a man named Mordecai Brafman is charged with attempted murder after shooting 2 Israeli visitors, believing they were Palestinians. The victims, a Jewish father and son, were shot at while driving in Miami Beach, with one sustaining a shoulder injury and the other a forearm wound. This incident highlights the rising tide of hate crimes linked to the ongoing conflict in Gaza, with advocacy groups warning of increased anti-Muslim and anti-Semitic sentiment since the war began in October 2023. Nihat Awad from the Council on American Islamic Relations emphasized the need for policymakers to address the hate fueling such violence. Australian Broadcasting Corporation reports that BHP Group has experienced a significant 23% decline in its first-half profit, attributed to lower prices for iron ore and coal. The mining giant's profit fell to $5.08 billion, and it declared its lowest interim dividend in 8 years. Despite these challenges, BHP anticipates a recovery in demand for copper and steel, bolstered by recent interest rate cuts and supportive measures from China aimed at boosting domestic demand. Analysts note that BHP's copper business has become increasingly vital, with a 44% increase in underlying copper earnings, helping to offset losses in other areas. The company remains optimistic about long-term demand driven by global megatrends, despite potential trade tensions affecting the economic outlook. New York Times Costa Rica has made a significant announcement, revealing that it will accept a flight carrying 200 migrants from Central Asia and India who were deported from the United States. This move makes Costa Rica the second Central American nation, following Panama, to accept such deportees. The Trump administration appears to be employing this strategy as part of a broader effort to increase deportations by sending migrants from countries that are difficult to return directly. Costa Rican officials stated that the migrants would be housed in a shelter in the southern canton of Corredores and that the repatriation process would be funded by the U.S. government, under the oversight of the International Organization for Migration. This comes at a time when Costa Rica has seen a decrease in the number of migrants passing through its territory, as neighboring countries have tightened their borders. Guardian in the Cook Islands, a large protest erupted outside the parliament as around 400 demonstrators voiced their opposition to Prime Minister Mark Brown's recent dealings with China, particularly his failure to consult New Zealand, the Cook Islands' closest partner. Protesters expressed their concerns on placards, emphasizing the importance of maintaining ties with New Zealand and criticizing the government's approach to deepening relations with China. During a recent state visit to China, Brown signed a comprehensive partnership agreement that promises a one-time grant for various projects, including renewable energy initiatives. However, New Zealand has raised alarms about the lack of transparency surrounding the deal, fearing it could jeopardize their long-standing relationship and Cook Islands' sovereignty. As China seeks to expand its influence in the Pacific, Brown defended the agreement, asserting that it would ultimately benefit the Cook Islands while promising to release further details soon. Thank you for tuning in. The content above showcases the latest briefing reports and analytical synopses, thoughtfully curated by the 6Do team. These insights stem from a wide array of reputable media outlets, think tanks, government sources, and specialized experts worldwide. We encourage you to explore these sources for a comprehensive perspective. Keep in mind that while the content may not always align with the official standpoint of 6Do Brief, it's not meant to be taken as absolute directives for decision-making. Comprising seasoned media professionals, learned scholars, and accomplished scientists, the 6Do team embodies a trailblazing, fully independent media entity. To customize 6Do Brief to meet your professional needs, you have the option to subscribe to a diverse array of briefings on our website, 6dobrief.com. Regardless of your location, you can conveniently receive 6Do Brief via email.